Hey all, just wanted to put this together very quickly to kind of show you how you can use Google Forms to send out some type of a student evaluation. The form you're going to see me create is just a couple of questions that Beth and I had thought would be good questions to ask our students before they leave for Christmas break. So what you got in front of you is your Google search page, and you can find that anywhere. And you'll see I'm already logged in. If you haven't logged in, the minute you try to go to the drive, it'll ask you to log in. But I'm going to click on my menu here, and I'm going to go into Google Drive. And this is my Google Drive piece. And I am going to create a form is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to create the form. Takes a quick second. Now here are some of the pieces that are specific to a student eval. I'll go ahead and name it. I'll call it student evaluation. So I got that named, and I usually don't get into the pretty stuff. It's up to you if you want to or not, but I'm going to take, there is just a regular one here somewhere. I'll just do this header blue one right here. And I'm going to click OK here. So I got the name up here, student evaluation. If you want to change it, you can just mouse over it and it'll change. I've got just real simply, I've got 3 questions that I'm going to do. The first question is primarily it's going to end up being a multiple choice question. But I am going to throw in the question, and I've got these off screen over here. So I've got my questions here. Here's the first question it's not really a question. It's actually a comment that you're going to ask the students to respond to in a sense of degrees here. I have grown academically since this time last year. So there's a sentence. I'm going to make it multiple choice, and then we can go ahead and do the scale, something I'm sure you've seen before. Strongly agree. And then I'll just click down here and we'll say agree. And I'll come up through and say disagree here. And agree, disagree, and then strongly disagree. Oops. We'll get rid of those options. Strongly disagree. You have other options, which the other 2 questions, I'll show you how to do those too. But so you have other options to choose from. You've got help text. I very rarely use help text. The other piece here, we'll talk about when we send it out, but we're good to go here. Let me, before I continue on, if you scroll to the very top, the form settings, if you want to make this anonymous, you do not want to require them to use their login. So this will make your form accessible outside of Britain. That's fine. But if I have that checked on, the first question that the students would receive is, what is your login, which kind of defeats the purpose of it being anonymous. So we're going to check all those off, automatically collect, same thing, Respondents Christian Academy username. If you did that, you would know who gave it to you. And we'll just say show progress bar at the bottom of the form pages, because again, as we all know from our students, if they don't know where they're at in something, especially if we're asking them for a favor per se, they don't know how many questions they've got to ask or are going to be asked, they'll probably check out pretty quickly. So that's what the top looks like. I've got student evaluation in there. Here's your confirmation, show link to submit another response. That's fine. Publish and show a link, we don't want to do that, and allow responders to edit responses after submitting. Obviously we don't want to do that either. So we're good there. So I've got my first statement / question. I'm going to add an item. So now this would be question 2. And question 2 is going to be an open-ended question. What role, if any, did this class play in your growth? Get rid of some spaces here. That is an actual question, and the question type here is going to be, let's see what we got. I'm actually going to pop in paragraph text, because if we put, as you know, making tests, if you put just one little small text box, they're just going to answer it very shortly. But if you lead them into a paragraph kind of idea, maybe you'll get a more defined answer from them. So that looks good. I got one more I'm going to add. And the last question I'm going to ask is, would you take another class from this teacher. And then I'm going to add a identifier to explain why or why not. Just kind of be a little more detailed. In this one, I am going to put paragraph on as well for the same reasons I talked about before. So there we go, 3 questions. Student evaluation, I've got 2 questions there. I'm good there. I am going to say done onto my questions. There's my student eval form. And then at this point, what I would do is I would send, I could actually, you've got some buttons up here. I can change the theme if I want to, but that's fine. Choose response destination. Let's look at that real quick. So currently the way this is set up, we've got this going to a spreadsheet, which is the answers. They're going to a spreadsheet that will be called student evaluation responses. And we're good there. And I'm going to say create that. Setting up the spreadsheet, you see it up there. Accepting responses. So this is a toggle, which basically you can either accept responses or not accept responses. So you can turn it off when the form is not being used. But we're going to accept responses. And then the last button is pretty much a view live form, which will put the form in the template. So this looks like a pretty good form. We're good to go. I'm going to go back to edit because I need to talk about how we send this form. There are 2 ways to send, and I would tell you I usually do one over the other, especially when you have students with iPads. You can send the form via email if you'd like, and that's kind of the way that I've tried to steer away from. We've run into problems in the past when we sent it. Sometimes it ends up in the email body. Sometimes it ends up as a link that has a hard time working. So generally what I have done anytime I've tried to send a form is I've just grabbed this link up here and I copy it. And then what I'll do is I'll go to my email and go ahead and start typing in kids' names, and then I'll just pop, I'll say student eval. And then I might write something at the top. Please fill out this evaluation form for digital media class, or whatever you want to put up there. You might want to offer points or whatever. And then you would just paste in the link. Oops, wrong paste. Let me repaste here. Go back to my form. Let's copy that. And then back to my email. And then paste. So then you send the form out. The form goes out to the kid. They fill it in. They hit submit. And then once you're done, I'll cancel this because I'm not going to do this right now. But once you're done, you would come back to your form within your Google Drive, and you would see up here responses, and there would be a certain number of responses. So if I look at, and again, there's going to be nothing on here because nobody's answered this, but they'll let you see the spreadsheet, and it gives you a timestamp, and it gives you answers to what each person will. Each row is a kid, so it'll give you answers to what each kid has answered for your student eval. Going back to these questions, these are just generic questions. These are ones I'm going to use. I'm actually physically going to use these questions in my class. These did come from, some of them came from Travis, which he has told us has worked well within his classes as well. So there you go. You can always get your student evaluation responses right there. Talk to you in a bit.